Hello everybody, Father Mike here. We continue our series on Eucharistic Adoration in preparation for sign-up weekend for our new Perpetual Adoration Chapel. And remember that will open on Corpus Christi Sunday, June 23rd, 2019 at the hour of Divine Mercy, which is 3:00 p.m. And so we're very excited for that day, and as a way of just kind of preparing for that, we heard some testimonies yesterday from folks who were talking about how adoration has changed their lives. And I think everybody who has practiced adoration knows that there's miracles involved. There's miracles involved every time in sacred scripture. When somebody goes to Jesus, there's always a miracle. Why should it be any different with adoration? When we go to the Lord in adoration, we physically go, we literally go to Jesus, and miracles happen. We heard about some of those miracles yesterday, and we're going to hear about some more miracles today. Listen up. God bless.
Hi, I'm Billy Cross. I'm the youth minister for St. Joseph Catholic Church and St. Vincent de Paul as well. And my experience with Eucharistic adoration started off a little rocky. I think my first experience in it was the retreat, my confirmation retreat back in high school. And when I first walking up to it, it was like I was super nervous, super intense, and I felt like the weight of the world was on me, and everybody talked about this. And this is, the Catechism of the Catholic Church tells us it's the source and summit, not just of the Catholic Church, but the source and summit of all of Christian life. And I walk up to it, and I'm super nervous, and I get down on my knees, and the priest takes it out, and I'm like, well, okay, when's the big thing going to happen? And I'm waiting, and I'm just waiting for something big to happen. And that's kind of how it all started, very anticlimactic in a way. And I went to Marian University for college, and I studied theology there, and I started to really understand, and I never really came back to Eucharistic adoration until the end of my college career. I studied a little bit of just like some of Jesus Christ, of how he was, but the intricacies of the tradition and the liturgy and what the Eucharist means in Mass. And after studying all this, I went to, they're called Awake Nights at Marian University, and it's where we were singing, there were people singing music in the back, and the Eucharist came up. And the priest goes and does benediction there, and we started singing, and the song was kind of like touching me, getting me in a certain way, but then all of a sudden, the silence comes over everyone. And I just have this overwhelming feeling of just like weight has been lifted, and I didn't even know there was a weight on my shoulders. And this weight that I really didn't even realize that was there, it kind of just like melts away. And part of like what I thought Jesus was, part of what I assumed that my connection to him should be, just kind of melted, and it was just me and him there. And I was able to really kind of understand that, Eucharistic adoration at the beginning, it was anticlimactic. I thought that maybe I just don't get it. Maybe this isn't where I see Jesus. It wasn't so much a problem with me connecting to the Eucharist, and this is the same thing when I say this, but I had a problem with my relationship with God when I didn't even realize it. When you come before the Eucharistic Mass, at Mass, but you come before him in Eucharistic adoration, and you just don't feel that connection, it's because something in your life, something outside of that, in your own personal lives, at home, at school, at work, whatever it is, you're not connecting to him. There's not something there that, he is dying to be intimate with you. He's dying to he gives you his whole self in this. And he's asking you for that. He's asking you for your whole self. And in that, I realized, like being in front of the Eucharist, I realized, I need to really radically change my life. And I know I have a lot of Protestant friends, and they all talk about, if you just sit with Scripture, it's going to change you. If you sit with the Word, it's going to change you. And yes, it will change you. You'll come to understand him more. But with the Eucharist, you're actually with him. He has given up his whole life, his whole everything. Like a man and a wife gets married, and they give their everything to each other for the betterment of each other's lives. This is what he's doing. He says, here is my body. here is my blood, not only just the outside, but all of the inside. He gives you everything. And he's offering it all up to you. And this is something that at first I didn't realize. At first when I heard it, it was terrifying. And I got there and it was almost anticlimactic because I wasn't really changing my own life. I wasn't really trying to strive for him outside of this. And the more that we strive here, and the closer you get, and the closer you become to Christ, the more you're praying, the more you're doing this, it will lead to the Eucharist. All of your faith life, all of your spiritual life, it will all lead here. And this is why the Eucharist is so, and this is why the Catechism tells us that it's the source and summit of all Christian life. Because the closer you get to God, the closer you get to God, the closer you get to the Eucharist. And I just offer to you, please give up your time. And an hour of your time is given up to yourself. You know, we're asking you to give up an hour to come be with Jesus, but you're giving up an hour for yourself because you're being with your God. And he is able to just be with you so that you can now bring him back to your families, that you can bring him back to your children, to bring him back to your spouse. And then through that can love them like he loves them. And then better love them in their lives, and it will change them. So I ask you, and just prayerfully discern and consider, please coming to adoration, spending an hour here and there. And the more you do that, the more you'll want to spend more time with him. Thank you.